Hello everyone, Joel here. I just want to start this episode off and say, if you haven't already realised, we are on our way to our 100 episode. It's a big goal, it's a big achievement. I never thought we'd get here, but we're very, very close. And for our 100 episode, I would like your questions to the team. Any questions, could be anything. It doesn't even need to be board game related, I suppose, but we would like to have a challenge, something different to bring along for our 100 episode. And if you don't send any, then I will have to do one of my quizzes, and we know how that went last time. So please send any questions or comments towards any of our social media sites. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's our Discord channel, email. You can find all this information in the show notes below. So thank you very much and enjoy the podcast.
Three, two, one. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 96 of the Devon Dice podcast, recorded on the 12th of March 2023. In this podcast, we will be taking a reflective look back at our exploits. I don't know. Anyway, we went to the North Devon Gaming weekend. I'm Joel Wright, the host of this podcast, and joining me on the show is Nick Shaw, the podcast resident game designer.
Hello, folks.
We've got Dr. Lewis, the podcast classic board gamer.
Hello.
And we will have Sam on later on, as he is still travelling back from AireCon at this present moment. He's probably home, but he needs to sort himself out a bit. So
appearance.
he will join us later on for the podcast. So moving swiftly on, because we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to do a quick bit of news and some Kickstarters, and then we'll go straight into our weekend away. So starting off, damn that Paul Grogan, he's just sold me another game, is the title of this part. He basically, I'm now a patron of his YouTube channel and things like that. So every month I give him a little bit of my hard-earned money to keep him going. And on Friday night, just gone, he had a tutorial and playthrough of Marvel Age of Heroes. Yes, it's another Marvel game, so I should be sold in the first place. But it's also done by WizKids, which hasn't got the great reputation at the minute. But watching this playthrough, I'm sold. It's basically Lords of Waterdeep, but X-Men.
Okay.
So...
Wow. You pushing with different pictures.
Kind of, yeah.
So instead of wizards and mages, you've just got different X-Men.
No. So basically, in this time now, it's you play as two different X-Men as a kind of team up, and what you're gaining cubes are for strength, mental, and willpower. I think it was the three different currencies. And yes, you've got two pawns of each character. And you will place them out to go and get more of this strength or more mental. Basically, you go into training into the danger room. So you basically train yourself up to be better. So you can either put them out on these general spots and gain stuff. You can also play ally cards down, which will be another spot, a bit like the buildings in Waterdeep, which is another spot you go to. And it's co-designed by the guy who made Lords of Waterdeep, so you can see lots of tropes coming from it.
Right.
So if you put an ally down that's below the general spot, then you actually put your coloured token over that general spot. So when other people go to that ally card and use it, you get also the bonus bit from it, from them using it. So it is Waterdeep in that kind of sense.
Lord Waterdeep with different pictures. Next.
Different pictures, yes. Or you can place your X-Men onto the X-Jet, which will be the second part of the round, where you'll go off and do missions with these people on the X-Jet, and basically you do a mission, and you're building all this up to fight 2 sub-bosses. And once you've defeated one of those sub-bosses, you'll then move on to the big bad boss, which you don't know what it will be until you get there and reveal it, which will be much harder to do. And it just looked... I mean, I like Lords of Waterdeep, but I mean, now it's got Marvel film theme on it. It looks even better. So...
Looks fun.
Sounds good. I mean, not for me, sure, but sounds good for you.
Perfect for a Marvel lover.
You've listened
And
to
the
2 things I
Waterdeep
care very little about. It's not true. It's not true. I do quite like Marvel.
Yeah, well, it's a Euro game at the end of the day now. And I have just got through my pledge manager for the latest Marvel United Multiverse Kickstarter. And
how much is the postage?
yeah, that's what I was bringing it up for. So I originally backed it at $100 for like the kind of the core box, stretch goals, and an extra expansion bit for it, and that was $100. The shipping price, just for that alone, is an extra $76.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come play your copy then, Joel.
So stupid. That's so stupid. Absolute joke.
That's mad. 70% of the price
Embarrassing.
is this shipping. Oh my word! What a world we live in.
I could air freight. In fact, when I was in New Zealand, I air freighted a board game box for, well, what was it? It might have been 25 quid, but it's not 70. It's not $70. It's stupid.
Imagine that there's so many units they have to send. They can't airship them all. They can't air freight them.
Yeah,
they have
but
to do it
air
on
freight is the
pallet.
most expensive way of transporting. So it's just it's a multiplication factor. Like it's not that. Like it's not.
Yeah, well, all the stretch goals and that are going to be pretty pricey. Pretty weighty, I should say, because there's some really big figures in that.
That's a crazy amount of shipping.
I think I would like to see a breakdown of their costs. I think it's disingenuous, and I'm genuine. I think it's disingenuous. I don't think all that money is going on postage and delivery. If it is, then they're badly managing their delivery. And to my mind, it is disingenuous and bordering on theft. It's lying. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you get onto the all-in pledge on it, which is what I was hoping to work my way up to, which is $360 for everything, more or less, from the Kickstarter. I mean, you're talking what we said before, plus 8 extra expansion boxes and several sets of card decks on top. So you are getting a lot for this. And then I was looking at the seeing if there's much difference in the shipping cost for it. And I'm just working it out now because I'm just going through the screens as we talk. And submit. And shipping, $50. How does that work out to that? VAT, $72. Plus an extra $10 on top for VAT shipping.
Wow.
It was how much?
$50 for shipping, plus $72 for VAT, and then extra $10 for VAT shipping for me.
Oh God! This is why, like in the UK, prices have to include tax when you advertise it. Like it's just ridiculous. If you don't include your VAT or sales tax, no one knows.
I mean, they do say like on their thing that it always has that there always be this at the end of it. They don't hold back. They do try and give estimated stuff on it, but
But why is the all-in? Why is the all-in cost less than a? Why is the all-in shipping cost less than the other shipping costs that you just paid?
I don't know. Hold on a minute. Just
is it because your other one includes the VAT as well, or something? Is it?
Well, the different. Well, no, yeah. Yeah, I'm slightly confused.
So to clarify, the current cost of a shipping container is about $10,500 dollars.
Yeah.
Wise. Mm-hmm. So that's a 50-foot shipping container.
A few moments later.
They are lying. I mean, it's just
and
they're literally stealing money. They're saying they're taking it for shipping, but it's not actually for shipping.
Well, they're hedging their bets in case costs skyrocket again.
Yeah, but that's their problem.
I must have done something wrong on the first one because it's now coming in at. So the $100 pledge is $46 or $46.94 shipping cost.
More reasonable-ish.
VAT
it's not
$20.
So ridiculous.
Which is 20% of the $100.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then there's VAT on shipping, which is $9.39. So, so does that? That's a little bit better. So it's like
it makes sense, but it's still expensive, isn't it?
It is still expensive.
Crazy.
I mean, this will be my last one now. I said that last
Other
time.
than the Brazilian one you're ordering.
Yeah.
That's a call forward. Something that's been discussed yet.
Oh yeah, you've just broken the fourth wall.
Broken the timeline.
Anyway, right. So yeah, that was pretty much the news.
Let's move on before we get crosser.
It was a really slow news day. A couple of Kickstarters.
Well, I was going to start today. I actually started really positive. I was going to say how the weekend that we've just been on has reinvigorated my passion for board games. I've been really into it since I've been back on Board Game Geek, reading about games. Even had sniffed a little look around Kickstarter again. But that has just ruined it again for me. I'm out again. No, bollocks. I'm not getting
just
near it again. Yeah, you've ruined it. You've ruined it all. God,
up to the minute news. If you want to write up to the minute news, Board Game Geek's website's gone down in the last 2 minutes.
We've broken it.
We've broken it. Too many queries.
Well, how am I supposed to know anything about board games now?
No,
it's nothing. We can't know anything.
Just got to rely on us.
Someone needs to reset the server.
So, Kickstarter. The one I brought forward is From the Moon. Basically, worker placement game. I believe it's worker placement game.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Worker placement game. You basically got a base on the moon, and you're helping launch more aircraft to go off to different planets. We've destroyed the planet, and now the moon is our savior at the minute. It's base camp for us to go exploring the stars. So it looks pretty cool. It's got cool little figures, which have backpacks on. You put stuff in the backpacks.
Customizable workers, which is quite cool.
Yeah. And you also have these like moon buggies that you can put your plastic workers in. And
for minis, they actually look really quite cool. Yeah. It
looks quite cool. It's €75 for that's the standard pledge for the English copy. This is their usual thing. So this is La Boîte de Jour that are making this game.
Yes, La Boîte de Jour.
And they usually just do the one pledge thing to get their games off thing. Wonderful
it's
players.
Quite nice to see actually without stretch goals. It's nice to see that.
Well, they do have stretch goals, but they don't do it in the way of how much money they earn.
It's not pledge levels, is it? That's it.
No, it's how many. It's based on how many backers, I believe it is.
So it is. Yeah. So every
time they get
the stuff that unlocks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing is the shipping. This is now get Lewis riled up.
Shipping. That's way down the page.
So shipping, and this is where you can actually say Brexit is doing us over here. Everyone else in Europe can have it delivered for €7. The Baltic area, not Baltic, the Eastern Europeans can get it for €17. United Kingdom, €20 shipping. If that doesn't shout Brexit problems to me, anyone.
But then again, Norway is 42 euros shipping.
Oh yeah, but
and
Norway's
Cyprus is 54. I mean, crazy. And
Yeah,
poor
but
Iceland.
And don't forget
Cyprus.
Estonia at 160. Don't
Nouvelle
leave New
Caledonia.
Caledonia out, mate.
Oh yeah, where is that? Where is that? I've
It's
never even
French
heard of.
territory it's an island in the middle of the South
Mm.
Pacific. So that's not
Ah.
surprising.
Yeah.
Expensive.
They probably
Ship
get
it to
like
the
a
tiny
delivery of parcels once a month or something there.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
So
On the
yeah,
bright side, it does
Mm.
say UK friendly, so at least you're not going to get charged VAT on top of that.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
because that
true.
is your VAT.
so but
That's
yeah.
probably why the shipping's there. It's probably the VAT.
Probably
isn't it?
covering.
Mm.
But yeah, looks like a cute game. Looks nice.
Does look a
Some
quick
nice
game,
things,
but
nice ideas.
I'll probably just wait for it to come out in the shops.
Cool. So the one I'm bringing to the table is actually on Backerkit, and this is Soda Pop Collection, which is a collection of 4 abstracty type games. And the big sell on this is that they all come in what look like soda cans. So they're not boxes; they are soda can shaped containers, which will not stack very nicely at all in the cupboard, but it's cute. And they are all like small mini kind of games. They take about 15-20 minutes each. Some of them, which one was I looking at? The For Genesis looks quite like the game Hive with the hexagonal
Yeah.
Baker-like tiles. It's kind of like that, where they've got little insects on discs which have different movements, and you're trying to get one piece to the other side of the board before the other person. That looked quite cute. Catacomb is a game with kind of cats on different sides of dice, and you're trying to stack your cats on top so they control the most areas of the color. Light Seeker is kind of neat. It's got a number of cubes which are either dark or light, depending on which side is facing the top. And you can either move a cube or tilt it one way on your turn, and you're trying to get more light or more dark on your side. It looked like a nice little movement game. And then Top Cap is the last one, which is kind of similar to the other one, the For Genesis, but this one's you've got 4 bottle caps effectively per player, and you're trying to get yours to the other side of the board. And so these look kind of cute, and it's a very reasonable price. I think it's 20 euros. I can't find the price now. Where is the
15
price?
euros per one.
There we go.
Or you can get all 4 for 45.
Yeah, all for 45 euros or 15 euros each.
Yep.
If you want
And
them.
if you get all 4
So,
for one, you get the
pretty nice.
fridge box to hold them in, which is quite cool.
Fridge box, love it. Yeah, so they're quite cool.
Yeah.
Take a
Yeah.
raise back a kit.
Or little mini 2-player games.
Yeah,
What's the shipping like?
I haven't dared look at the shipping.
$500.
500.
Oh, we're in Zone
Shipping
B.
and delivery.
Oh, we get
so-
12 euros. Oh no,
Right, you can pick it up from Essenspiel.
oh no, sorry,
No
18 euros for the fridge.
Yeah, Zone B for UK.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
four, only
for one or two
€4
games.
extra. Can't believe we're getting put in the same bracket as New Zealand. That's a joke. Flipping it. Have you ever been to New Zealand? I bloody lived there.
Oh, did you, Lewis? You never
Yeah.
told us.
That's the back ass of nowhere. Look at that. Bloody.
Very pretty though.
It is a very beautiful country.
So right, moving along. So basically, this podcast is going to be about weekend trips away to board gaming events. So me, Lewis, and Nick on the show actually went to the North Devon board gaming convention. I don't know, gaming weekend. That was hosted at the Fox and Hound Hotel.
Yeah.
Which is up Egglesford, is that the closest town to it? I
That
think.
sounds about right. Yep.
Um,
North Devon somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the
It's kind
towns
of
around there.
mid-Devon, isn't it? It's kind of mid-Devon.
It's not
It
the
is,
coast,
yeah,
no,
but-
it's in inland, yeah.
yeah, it's a bit surprised, but anyway.
Not
So yeah, I
mi-
mean,
not miles away from Crediton and People's Corner. That's the key.
it probably took me the same amount of time to drive to it where I live than it did Lewis as well.
Yeah.
Because it took me an hour and 20 minutes to get there. Well, it actually took me longer because we witnessed a head-on collision between two cars in the lanes.
Oh,
So then
no.
we had to wait around and not give evidence, but just to check everyone was all right and say, I've got dash camera evidence of it, so I'll send it to the insurance companies for you, and they can fight it out who's in the wrong.
Wow.
But so yeah. It took us a lot longer. We were planning to go to eat lunch at Castle Drogo, I think it's called. But because of that crash, we couldn't get through the road then, and so we had to turn around and just head on to the hotel. So
oh man.
So
yeah. Castle Drogo is very nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I never got there.
I had a Christmas party there once.
All right.
Oh, very nice. That'd be a lovely place to have a Christmas party. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, it was.
We're not talking about that.
No.
So yeah, basically, it's a lovely hotel. Really,
it was really lovely. Yeah,
it was really nice. The hosts are lovely. They were brilliant all weekend.
They were so friendly.
Yeah, and it is a dog-friendly hotel. And now we've got a puppy. We thought, it'd be great. We can take her along. It was Claire's first board gaming weekend away. She has done UK Games Expo, but because the kids were really young, she was more or less kind of nanny. And while I was off doing my thing. So this is her first time away from the kids, but we had the dog, and she was the only dog in the board gaming group.
She was the star, wasn't she?
She was.
Everyone knew her.
She was getting so much attention.
Yeah.
Oh, she absolutely loved it. So yeah, it is really dog friendly there. So if you do want to, if you do have dogs and want to go away for the weekend, great walks all around the place. We did one or two of them, and they are some great walks. And they have some very expensive dog treats and food on the bar, which your dog could get quite used to.
Which Honey sampled all of them, didn't she?
Pretty much,
including the martini, the doggy martini, and doggy beer.
Oh, she didn't like that. So yeah, maybe she's a bit young for it. But anyway,
it's got expensive tastes.
So yeah. I mean, actually, this weekend, I have to say, is not your standard board gaming weekend, I would say, because I went into it thinking, oh yeah, I can play lots of games, and actually I didn't play as many as I thought I'd play. It was really relaxed, I thought, in a way. I don't know about you two.
There are other things you could do as well, because they had the quiz on the Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apart from that quiz, I did a run on Sunday morning. But that was kind of pre-breakfast. I kind of, from 9 o'clock in the morning till gone 1 in the morning, sometimes pretty much board games solidly. But I agree, I still didn't get through as many games as I thought I would.
No.
But it's because some of them were kind of longer, and I think it was kind of with quite a nice group of people, so you had a lot of chat and banter over the table. Yeah. Some people I upset a bit more with my banter than others, but that's hopefully he's all right now. I think we made up by the end.
We did meet quite a few. Well, not I say quite a few. I say we did meet a couple of listeners. So
we did.
I can't remember any names. But thank you for listening. Thank you for saying. It
was brilliant. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, when we do the podcast and we hope people listen, but we generally just do it mainly to have a chat, don't we? And but it's really strange to have people actually coming up and sort of saying, "Oh, are you from the Devon Dice podcast?" I was like, "Yes. How do you know that?" So it was really nice to have a chat with people and game with people from who obviously been listening. Listen to the show. It's really good fun. I really enjoyed it. And nice to have some good robust debates with some as well. That was quite nice.
Good old Mark, another listener, good friend of mine. It was Friday night. Him and Lewis were having this massive debate argument on the table while we were eating, and it was just like, oh no.
Oh,
my
mate,
head...
that was round one. We had about 4 more at breakfast. You weren't there. Like,
I'm so glad.
Yeah. I think we both enjoyed it. We both enjoyed a good debate. As I hope he said he did. I hope he didn't mind.
Yeah. He's good as gold. He's fine about it all. So I'm pretty sure if you upset him, he would have told me.
Yeah, as I say,
he was fine.
Absolutely lovely time. Like, it was so relaxing. The rooms were really nice, and I was just saying, I think it's really kind of invigorated my sort of passion for board games. I think really, I'd kind of cooled a little bit of late. I'm still playing, but just not with the same kind of passion and level I was before. But like I said, I couldn't get enough. I was just again, next one, let's go.
So cool, yeah.
We got through a few, though, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, Friday night we got there. Me and Lewis got there on Friday afternoon, I should say. And the very first game we played was Clank Catacombs, which was hilarious.
Tick off the Clank reference.
Explore Clank.
And there was 5 of us, and we were the loudest table of that afternoon, evening. It was just hilarious, especially with Lewis bitching all the time.
If you want to wind me up, make me play a game like Clank. That already, I do enjoy playing it, but it winds me up in general. And then give asymmetric player powers. That is gonna make me absolutely furious. Cannot play that with any kind of sensible attitude at all. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
I think the thing was, I was giving out these player powers, the expansion boards, Nick, and he took the one you had. Did you have the ogre, the grey one?
The one with the cogs that you unlock.
Oh no! He didn't take that.
No, that's the best one. Yeah.
He took the ogre one, which is kind of rondel. So every time you fight a monster, you get to move it around and get the benefit of moving this token around. And he looks, he says, "Oh, that's pretty good." Then I said, I might be the cat."
No. You twisted the story completely. You said asymmetric player powers. I was like, oh well, I'm sure. I thought to myself, well, this is a published game. Someone's going to have play tested it. So I imagine they're going to make sure the powers are pretty equal. And so I'll just have a look at a couple, and I'll just pick one at random. It'll be absolutely fine. And I looked at the ogre, and I was like, oh yeah, that's reasonable. Okay, I can see that could be good. I don't really do much fighting. And then I looked at the cat, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, that looks quite good fun. That's quite a funny little thing. They look quite similar. What I hadn't realised was those two were basically the dog shit. And every other player was ridiculously OP. And I hadn't realised it, so we started playing the game and discovered what everyone else's powers was. And I did not read those. That is ridiculous. So infuriating.
Marcus, good friend, another listener, was had yours one actually, Nick. He had the cog, the robot one.
Yeah.
And Lewis was kicking off every time it got to his turn. You get all those powers each turn, where I get nothing. I get
every single turn. 2 boots, 5 swords, blinking 50 money to spend on cards. Absolute joke. How did you get that? Oh, I took damage. What? The bad thing? Oh, well, that's bad then, isn't it? You're nearly going to die. No. In your starting deck, we've included a free heal. Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Amazing. That is not the same as my cat, I'll tell you that for free. Oh, if you happen to get the right card, have 1 boot. If you've picked a boot, if the other card comes out, you can't pick another boot. I can't even get 2 boots in a deck cycle, let alone blinking 2 boots a turn. Absolute joke.
But Lewis, did he get out of the catacombs?
Well, no, because I was determined to make sure he got punished for his gluttonous ways, and I just left really early, sacrificing my own game just so I could draw cubes satisfyingly.
Brilliant.
Well, anyway, so we were the loudest table.
It was a good game. He was a good laugh, actually. He's a very funny chap, wasn't he?
Yeah. We were the only table with the loudest, and we shouldn't have been, because there was like the other Lewis, North Devon Lewis. He came along a little later on. He played a game, and he could hear us shouting and cursing each other. And he goes, hold on a minute, we're playing a social game here. We should be the loud table. Why are they so loud? But
getting back to the actual game, it was interesting, wasn't it? It suffers for, I think, it's asymmetric player power is already annoying to add to what is a frustrating game, but normally a satisfying way. But the real issue I had with it, because obviously, you don't see the whole board, and the board sort of comes out, and you sort of turn over tiles, and so you don't know what's kind of going to be there until you sort of explore. Is I think its main problem is that, in terms of a deck builder exploring kind of point kind of collection game, I really don't. I think Clank hit it so well with its first iteration. I really think it's kind of always struggled to really do anything exceptional with any of its expansions that doesn't actually ruin that really clever fine balance. And so I didn't hate it, but it had a lot of things to me that actually detracted from original Clank. I think one of the things I get quite excited about with Clank is you can really have that push your luck. You can see your route and you think, that was going to take me that route. I've put how many boots in my deck? Oh, I think I could push myself on to this more expensive thing and get back. And then if you do it, you feel like a hero. And if you didn't, you feel like, oh, it's my fault for pushing my luck. Whereas this one, I was sort of turning over a couple of tiles and I wasn't even really caring what was there. I was a bit like, well, I'm sure it'll be something good. I'll just sort of orientate the tile. That'll give me the good thing. And then I'll sort of find my way back or something. And then I didn't quite get that same excitement of kind of, oh, do you think I can make that? I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I'll just go back then, really, and punish that monkey bloke. And that's really kind of as far as I got, really. And then because of that, I didn't have anywhere near enough points. Well, I think was I 10 points off? Yeah. I didn't find that exciting.
Do you prefer the original?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I prefer Clank in Space, but I Explorer Clank did very little for me. It's like Clank Catacombs, whatever it's called. That's it. Yeah,
it's fine.
If anything, it took away rather than gaining anything for me. I would much rather play original Clank or Clank in Space. It's a bit like, screw it, I'll just go home then.
So the Friday evening they put on a buffet meal, which was actually pretty nice.
Very
curries
nice, yeah.
And very nice. And that's where you had heated debates with Mark.
Yeah,
first time.
Well, mate, dinner, breakfast, lunch. Every time I saw him, I think we were having a debate about.
That was the only one I could
philosophy.
Remember. That was the only one I was there.
Yeah.
I was dying inside every minute it went on. But anyway.
Oh, what a joke.
And then we played Tapestry afterwards. So This didn't go down too well, mainly because we played with 5 players.
Don't play with 5 players.
I love Tapestry.
Well, I remember playing it with you, Joel, about years ago. I think when it first came out.
Probably
and
when
we played
it first came out.
2-player, and I didn't hate it, but it reminded me of Euphoria, and it was just I just found it okay. It was a bit dull. I wasn't that excited by it. That 5-player game was hell. It was torture. It was absolutely awful. And the game is a mess. Like, why? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, pick which track you want to go up. Like, okay, but it's obviously better just to keep going up the same track and complete one track and then try another track. Yeah, that's right. What? But it's so stupid. It's just the same action every turn. It's so stupid. I can't take it. And it was very long.
Yeah, I think it suffers from 5 players from the length.
Yeah.
It's too long a game of 5.
So,
4, even 4, I would say, is pushing it. Whereas 2 and 3, it flows really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, Claire's played 2-player with me, and she said, I hated that. So 5 players doesn't work.
It's
probably even 4 players doesn't work. So
yeah,
which is a shame.
My mate Alex was with us, and it's safe to say he didn't enjoy it. That was
yeah, but there's underlying issues there. But that's not.
He was quite drunk by that point.
Yeah.
He did enjoy Clank though. He won Clank, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did. Yep.
I think that game finished with him pretty much almost standing on his chair shouting, "And this is why Clank is the best game ever." Funny.
So yeah, that went on till the early hours of morning. That's how long it went on for. And I pretty much just left it on the table how it was, and I said, I'm gonna clean it up in the morning. I can't be asked.
I literally finish, and if anyone knows that game, like it finishes at different times. I literally finished and went, I'm just going to bed. I didn't even wait to see what everyone else did. Joe was like, I left it out in the morning for you to have a look to see how well you did. I didn't even check. That's how much I didn't care. I have no idea what everyone else did. I just didn't give two hoots about it. My sole reason for completing that game was nothing annoys me more when someone leaves in the middle of a game. So, I was determined not to be that person.
No. So yeah, Saturday rolled along. Breakfast is good. As the food was just good all weekend. Yeah. So I started off with Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. We met up with our good friends, or my good friends, the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast. So yeah, and they are massive Terraforming Mars lovers. I've told them that I don't like Terraforming Mars, and they respect that. But they said, you've got to play Ares Expedition. It's not the same game. I was like, oh, all right. Since there's nothing else to play, I'll play it. And then halfway through the game, I was like, I'm sorry, guys, but I absolutely love this game. I was just like, yes, play cards. It's brilliant. It feels such a different game. And if it didn't have the Terraforming Mars bit on it, I would have played it earlier. But it's just a card game. It should have been in the first place, really. The components are a lot better. It is
so much quicker. So much quicker.
And it still suffers with what Lewis says about, like, oh, you've got that card, which is like 10 times better than my card, but does the same thing. But you don't have to pay for it.
But it's so much quicker.
Lewis.
It doesn't really.
Yeah.
It didn't seem quicker when Joel was playing it.
Did it take 3.5 hours?
It took him over 2 hours.
I don't know how long it took.
It didn't take that long, did it?
It did.
I think you were playing it for about an hour and a half.
I think so.
I think it was.
I've played it twice, and neither of the games I've played of that have gone over 45 minutes.
Because I was
don't know how you've stretched it to an hour and a half.
Oh, it's more than that. Because I was playing 878 Vikings, and we'd already been playing for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I think we played for when you guys sat down, and then it was at least another hour and a half after that we finished, and then it was another half an hour waiting for you guys to finish while we set up Brass Birmingham.
Maybe I don't know.
It didn't feel long. It didn't feel
that long.
Shorter than it felt long to me watching it.
Wow.
If it felt short whilst playing, then that's good.
That's key.
It was good.
Yeah.
It makes it 10 times better than the original thing. But
I had a great game of 878 Vikings with Alex at that time.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's the Academy games, isn't it? It's their kind of they got their Birth of America series, and it's a kind of light war game. And then this is their first, I think, of the Birth of Europe series. It's Vikings invading the UK. I've had it for a long time. Got their Kickstarter, but I knew Alex would like it. Well, when I played it because it was 2-player, and Alex and I were kind of ready to go at 9, and people were still kind of having breakfast and things. It might be earlier than that, maybe 8:30, I think. And so we thought we'd have a quick game then. And also Alex likes Warhammer and war games and things like that, so he loves all that. So I knew he would, and he did. He absolutely loved that game. He was looking to buy it straight after, even though he's trying to sell games at the moment to downsize a bit. So it was good. Yeah, we had a good game of that. And so, did you win in your Terraforming Mars then? Terraforming Mars, not Terraforming Mars.
No, I think I came joint third out of 5.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
No,
they looked like they were pretty big Terraforming Mars fans, so I imagine they'd already played that game to death. So
Yeah.
I think you would have.
It took me a few rounds to realise what was going on and how things worked, and then as soon as it's like, I know how this all works now, bang, 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 bang. But it's like I was doing all right at the beginning, but then someone, there's a way of like building up victory points that you score at the end, which I scored 2, and this guy scored like 10. So then he just stormed ahead, kind of thing. So
is it because you had the same card, but his gave you 10 points and yours gave you 2?
Not that I know about.
Is that what happened? Yeah,
No.
that tends to be what happens in Terraforming on Mars. Yeah, but
I think-
these 2 cards cost the same. Yeah, but one gives 10 points, one gives 2. Yeah, I literally don't understand. I do not understand what's just happened here.
I think it's pretty much balanced now, because there was like I found like similar cards, but like there was a different cost and there was different outcomes for you to do stuff. So I think they've balanced all that crap out.
Oh, that's good, because that was appalling with Terraforming.
I think you might like it.
I'd give it a go. I'd give it. I mean, again, I actually quite liked the game of Terraforming Mars, like the actual game part of it. You know, it's quite good. I just could not stand that deck of cards. I mean, I'm looking at 2 cards in my hand, going, these cards are identical, but one is good and one is not as good. That's that kind of stuff that infuriates me. It's the same problem I had with Tapestry. I think I played my Tapestry card at the beginning. I thought, oh, this is quite good. It was like, here, take 8 points. I was like, okay, I'll take 8 points. Claire literally played a card after me, a Tapestry card. Here, have 12 points. All right. How did Claire get that card? Oh, well, she did an action. Let her pick up a Tapestry card. How did they get my card? Oh, I did an action. Let me pick up a Tapestry card. Like, we did the same things, but she gets, 4 more points. It's a joke. I mean, yeah, I can't stand stuff like that. It does my head in. Stupid.
Okay.
Stupid.
Okay. Anyway, Nick, what were you playing before all that?
So we played a game called Flamecraft. It's the first one we played, and that was a 5-player game. See if Board Game Geek is up, and I can actually see any information yet on this. I don't think it's going to be up. Let's have a look. No, Board Game Geek. Oh no, Board Game Geek is back up. Hooray! Live news, folks. Board Game Geek's back. So Flamecraft is a game by Manny Vega, a designer I don't know, published by Cardboard Alchemy. And it's a cute game of little cartoon-type dragons who are working in this little village. You're placing your dragon out on your turn and activating a shop. They're kind of helping out at all these shops. And you get various resources from each of the shops, and then you're trying to exchange these resources for objectives in the middle that you're all vying for. It was quite cute. It was legitimately took, I think, about an hour and a half for 5 players, so that was a very good speed of game. Kind of midweight. And that's basically what you're doing is you're placing your dragon somewhere, activating or playing a card down into the shop, which gives the shop like a little boost. You activate the dragon, it gets the shop ability, it gets the card abilities, and then you can claim an objective instead of, if you don't want to move your dragon, you can claim an objective. And you keep doing that until all the shops are full up, and then once all the objectives have gone, then you score up. So it was a fun game to start with. Not too heavy on the rules. Nicely interactive between us. Yeah, it's a good time, and very nice artwork on it. Really pretty artwork on all the cards. So that was Flamecraft. That was good fun.
Yeah.
And then finally we got together, all of us, to play Brass Birmingham.
We did,
which was a delightful.
Yeah, it was delightful.
We're going to do a review of that on a later podcast. So
we are, and we're already pushing for time. So
indeed.
So
we're going to rush through that. But yeah, thumbs up for me from Brass Birmingham for my very quick review there. After which we moved on to a game of Furnace, which is one of Joel's favourites.
What do you think of it?
Fun. I enjoyed playing that.
Furnace.
Yeah.
Furnace, which is the little the small kind of auctioning tableau building.
The one where I was literally playing a different game to everyone else the whole time.
That's the one.
Turns out I was better in an auction. Yeah.
Yes, you forgot what an auction was.
Yeah.
You're getting the lowest possible.
The highest bid, highest token on there wins, Lewis. Oh, I thought it was the lowest. Oh, bless him.
It was so
It
good.
wasn't my strongest game, that. I won't
No.
lie. I don't know what happened. I don't know what came over me.
So yeah, and then we played that, and then we started the game of No, we didn't. We started the game of 80 days, because I thought, this is quite quick to play. We'll get this in before dinner time, and the quiz was meant to happen, which we only got halfway through. And
that's mainly because they wanted you in for the dinner before really the start, so it jumped off on us a bit at the time.
Yeah. Oh, well, also you hadn't banked on how much other Lewis would be AP in it and taking forever to take a turn. God, Lewis.
Wow. But I quite enjoy it. I think it's a sweet, pleasant game, really. So I think it's quite
good.
family weighted, easy game. Could quite easily be up there with, I don't know,
Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride, yeah. In
That
a way.
sort of game, isn't it? It's that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little
I'd say
bit
possibly even simpler than Ticket to Ride, because you don't have to have that route planning. You're literally just doing. I just have to get these bits of clothing or something in my suitcase, and there you go. Move around.
Some of us planned our routes, mate. All right, that's why some of us got there early. Some of us got there early.
And how did it go for you?
We walked for such a thing, and we got mugged off. Mugged off.
You could be mugged off because someone could go there on the space, taking the action before you, and make it a little bit more expensive than you can afford. And so then you're just like, oh, that's it. That's my round done with. So
my careful planning was sometimes thrown out the window by other people's inconsiderate moves.
Oh, and they were laughing at me because when I first got the game, it comes in French and Spanish.
Should we just quickly highlight how to play? So you basically collect stuff to complete missions while also racing around across the board to get all the way around the world to get to London. And there's different action spaces. You've got a set number of counters per turn, and you just have to bid more than the last bid in order to do the action. So if somebody does the first turn doing the action will put 1 token on, the next person who wants to do that same action has to put 2, next person who wants the same action has got to do 3, and it could be like travel by rail, travel by air, travel by boat, visit a shop, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And you got 5 rounds to get from London to London, basically. So one London is the left-hand side, and the other London is the right-hand side. So there's 2 Londons in the world if people didn't know. So you're just trying to make that around in 5 rounds.
Also, you'd be tricked, despite all the literature and books about it that clearly make it into a race around the world. It's not a race. It's a trick. If you win, you don't win. Just so you know. Don't be fooled.
Yeah, if you get to London first, it doesn't mean you've actually won.
Doesn't mean you've won, yeah. So, did I win the race? Yeah, sort of, but you didn't have the right hat, so... Ooh.
Didn't take enough nice photos along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
I'm not bitter. I am bitter. Losing a tie break. Ridiculous tie break. I won the race.
The game only comes in French or Spanish.
We started with the rules, didn't we? Yeah.
And when I looked up on BGG first, there was an English version. I was like, that's great. I'll buy the game off of Christoph and I'll just get the rules from there. And when I actually went to read the rules, I was like, hold on a minute, half the pages are missing. And I was looking through it and I was scanning it all and I was just like, okay, they're not there. So I typed in and said, well, can we have the rest of the rule book? And it wasn't to my knowledge that the actual designer had replied back saying, like, you just need to scroll across. Now, you all joked at me.
And you were just like, you just scrolled to the right.
No. You all joked with me. You took the mick out of me saying that I didn't scroll to the right. Okay. I looked again at the weekend on my laptop, and Safari, which I was using, it's just something I'm used to doing. I'm trying to convert myself to Chrome. Still only brings up half the rule book. Doesn't matter if I scroll left, right, or up or down, it's half the rule book. All the odd pages are missing. If I go onto Chrome, it's all there.
Well, I just enjoy the way that you went on Safari, and your conclusion was, someone's only scanned half the left side of this instruction booklet. That's
Yeah,
what's
it might have
wrong.
done.
I don't need to open up Chrome and check in another browser if it works well. What's really happened is somebody's gone to the trouble of scanning this entire thing in, but they've forgotten to scan the odd pages.
Yeah. That's basically it. Dick. Anyway, so yeah.
So that was very funny.
I've now printed
That
out the
was
full
funny.
English rule book.
Yeah.
I think it's a good game. It's quite good. It will stay. I
don't
don't think the
mind it.
replayability is there that long term, but it's good.
Yeah,
It's really short. It's 45 minutes to 60 minutes playtime, really. So it's a decent family game.
It's worth doing. Yeah.
Then we did have dinner and the quiz, which was entertaining in its own right, in a way. The food was exceptional. It was just like, wow. It was all this photos being taken and sent to other people that weren't there. And then so it's the son of the owners who's into board games. He was like the one that suggested like doing a board game weekend and got Christoph involved, I believe. How it all worked out. And the owner, he done some presentations at the beginning of the dinner. He goes, I thought my son was a bit of a nerd and a geek for playing these games, but then I've met you lot, and you surpassed my expectations. I was just like, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes.
So
That's brilliant.
So yeah, and I think even the son was just like, he tried his best to make a quiz, and you can tell it's all come from his collections because he's taken pictures of components, and there's a bit of recycling going on with it. It's like, that's Scythe again. Well, that's Scythe down there.
Once you worked out the 10 games in his collection, the answers became quite easy.
Yeah.
Yes, that was so good.
And then,
nice
but
one.
then it got a little bit tough because Christoph wrote the last few questions, and it was just like, I don't know. So yeah, we were running second towards that bit.
I think we were joint top going to the final round.
Oh, were we joint
and then
top?
And then the first half of the final round was questions about Scrabble, Monopoly, battleships, Operation, and it's like I don't know how to tell you. I don't regard these as board games. I'm quite a snob in that regard, and you're not. I don't really. This is not. I know that the plebs call it that, but I don't. So that's kind of it's kind of like muck, really. I don't really know anything about that. So we went from, I think we literally dropped 1 mark in about 40 questions to 6 out of 20.
Yeah, something like that.
And they were blind guesses.
Yeah. Oh, but the last 10 were tough, weren't they? Because they were like, what's the first game that won Spiel des Jahres? And Lewis thought he knew, and then it wasn't, and it was just
I got the wrong answer, but I got the same wrong answer as Christoph.
Yes, you did.
So I had to correct it. You had to get corrected because I'd said the same answer as Christoph. He thought it was exactly the same one. Because I had my family got a lot of family friends who are German, so I had a lot of the game. In fact, I actually had the other one that as well. That was the one 2 years before the original, the very first Spiel des Jahres, which was Hare and Tortoise, and then. I thought it was Sagaland though, but it was 81 was Sagaland apparently. So, but I had all these games. I could even describe it. And I was trying to explain to people the game, and then people were looking blankly at me. And sometimes you don't realize if you have these things as a child that. But
hey, it was good fun. It was.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It was really enjoyable dinner. The quiz was quite entertaining. We had a good laugh, and it rounded off the night. We did play a game afterwards. But I think we were a bit tired, a bit drunk, and we were let's just go to bed now. So,
well, we had a game. We had a game with the Hunger, didn't we? Which was a deck building vampire game. And I think we were a bit tired, not in the mood for it. Vampire Clank. But again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I really enjoyed the game anyway. I don't think I would have enjoyed it even if I wasn't tired and things. I think. Didn't make a lot of sense.
I know what you're saying. It doesn't. I don't think it does make that.
I just
I don't know. I don't know what
why
happened with it. It was just.
Yeah.
It wasn't my best game. I'm glad I've played quite a lot of games with it and had some excellent moments, and that just wasn't one of them. So
Yeah, I just think the game itself though is a bit underwhelming again compared to Clank. I mean, I know you guys bang on about Clank and it's the best game ever, blah blah, and I don't quite share that, but I do think in terms of a deck builder with onboard kind of movement mechanics, I think it's kind of unbeatable, really. And this just didn't. It's lacking some key parts that make it work. Like I don't know how I can not leave the first area and win the game, and that's just silly. Anyway, I wasn't a big
That was the
fan.
hunger.
Look, Nick, you got a game. Listen.
So yeah, my last game of the evening, which is when you were all in the having your meal and your quiz. I'm
I
trying
think
to.
you mean the delicious meal and fun quiz. You forgot to add the adjectives.
Sorry, delicious meal and fun. Well, I never did eat it. I don't know. I don't know who found out who won the quiz as well.
What it was called? Some sort of fix.
So this is a game called AireCon, which is by Bruno Cathala and Johannes Gopi, and this is one that the guy from Hachette was demoing to people, so he taught it to us. And this is a game of. It says it's a tense and fast-paced strategy game. We managed to break that a bit in the fast-pacedness. We managed to slow it down, but it describes itself as a short 4X game, which I don't think is a very good description in any way. But what you're doing is you each have a player board where you are placing tiles that you're effectively drafting from a collection of tiles, 6 or so in a row in the center. And the tile that you draft comes with a card which gives you a certain action which you can take, which will be gaining workers or gaining one of the special resources called the Orichalcum metal, constructing buildings, or attracting the power of the gods. And then also sometimes these cards will come with monsters on them, and the monsters sit on your island and kind of block the space until you defeat them, and you have to take a kind of a fight action to defeat them, and you'll get lots of points for defeating them as well. But they do block up your tableau. You're trying to fill your board with all these tiles, and if you make a circle of 3 of the same type of terrain, then you get a bonus of some kind. And once you've completely filled the whole board and have no monsters left on your board, then you win the game. It was a lot of fun. It was a fairly fast-paced game. Each turn was quite quick, and that was good. We misplayed some of the rules slightly because the guy from Hachette had to go off and do something else. So we had the quick teach, and then we had to learn the rest from the rules ourselves, and we missed a few little
sort
things.
Of made it up. Oh, the guy's
we misinterpreted some of the iconography, is what I would say.
I've been there.
Because there are these little power chits that you get for your combos when you get 3 of a terrain, and we weren't getting those entirely the correct way. But it was a good fun game. But we did manage to slow it right down at the end because our friend Chris, who was very much in the lead at that point, because you win when you get 5 of the coins at the top. It's not filling your board. Sorry, it's when you get 5 of the coin slots at the top. He was 1 off winning, and so all we did for the rest of probably about half an hour, we managed to drag the game out longer than it should have been, is we kept denying him the 1 bit of terrain that he needed to get the bonus, to get the last thing. So we deliberately hate drafted. He did end up winning, so it wasn't a loss for him because he rarely wins games, bless him. It was good for him, but we did drag it out.
Really wins games. You hate drafted to the point of death.
Oh yeah, he didn't mind it. It was hilarious to see what we were doing with it, because I don't think the designers entirely planned on the kind of strategy we were going with, the 3 of us ganging up against the leader to stop him, to try and pull him back from winning. But yeah, even with that, it was good fun. It was not that long. It probably took us 60 minutes is about the right time length for a 4-player game. That's what it says on Board Game Geek as the estimated time. It probably took us about 75 minutes in reality, but we were learning it and trying to pick up some of the rules that we had missed in the teach as well. Again, this is one that's got really nice kind of cartoony-esque artwork. I recommend it. It's good fun.
No idea.
Sounds interesting. So that was Saturday, and then Sunday came along. Sunday was weird.
Yeah, Sunday was only for people who were staying at the hotel.
Yeah,
So
and there was
all
barely
of us were
anyone there. It was,
Yeah.
I think there's about 3 or 4 tables of gamers.
I imagine a lot of people probably headed off early for the
Well,
drive home.
maybe. Which is a shame
Yeah.
because I think they could have quite easily have kept it and said, weekend ticket, you can come in and play games. There was plenty of room.
Mm.
There would have been people
Yeah.
there that wanted to do that, but because it was
Even
meant to go on
sold a
till
few
3
more
o'clock.
tickets. Sold
Yeah,
a few more tickets for a couple of quid or something. Like you didn't have to.
Indeed.
And drinks that go with it.
Yeah, it would have gone on till 3 o'clock, but I mean, by 12 o'clock, I think it was us, me, Lewis, and we were playing Return to Dark Tower on another table. By 12 o'clock.
Wow. Because it was very busy on the Saturday. It was packed out.
It was.
Yeah.
Completely full.
So yeah, maybe it's something they need to think about next year and say, actually, Sunday doesn't really matter. I don't know, but
I'm sure they would have made the money with the bar and the food.
Well, I hope they
but
include the
Like
Sunday
people.
next year. The Sunday was good.
yeah.
I think they'll include it. It's whether they open it up to weekend tickets, so people who aren't staying at the hotel as well.
But we had a game, didn't we? A good old
We did.
co-op. Return to
Good
Dark
old-
Tower.
So that was it was a great game, wasn't it?
We had a very good game.
It actually changed your opinion about it, I think I have to say, because you were a bit like, oh, yeah, this just goes here, it falls out, I put it here, I deal with it. But in this game, Lewis bitched. In previous games, Lewis has bitched about like you put these skulls in at the end of your turn and they just kind of fall out, and you have to put them somewhere.
Yeah, that's at the tower is like in the middle of the board, and it. Previously, the games I played, like they seem to regularly come straight out, and it didn't really make a difference.
No, but in this one, we were putting skulls in, and they weren't coming out. And Lewis is like, "Oh, this ain't good."
Yeah,
because it is great. Because every time you take a turn, you press it. It's really because it links up to the app on like the iPad. Yeah. So to end your turn, you drop a skull into the tower. It registers with the app and says either gives you an event or doesn't give you an event. And then it says, and then you do the event and you go to the next player. And yeah, it was just that whole thing. You're dropping one in. It's like, oh, okay, there's nothing coming out. That means they're building up somewhere. And then at some point it will say, remove a door from this side, and it will flash up and like reveal which door will have to open up. And I think Lewis opened up one of his doors, and there was like 4 skulls there, but only one of them or 2 of them fell out. The others just kind of sat in there, and the thing rotates as well.
Ominously balanced.
Yeah, it rotates as well, which is like really cool to see once you start opening the doors up.
And that soon pinged them out.
Yeah.
If you think that was bad, Jill, the game I played this afternoon, I had 5 skulls fall into my kingdom on a rotation.
Oh no.
Event, yeah, and it was already pretty full. I won't lie to you.
But yeah, it's really it's a great game. To the point, it was me, Lewis, Alex, his friend, and Claire playing, and Claire went halfway through. I think Isaac might enjoy this. I'll give you permission to buy it only when you sell some games. I was like, what? You've never said that. What's happened to you?
She changed her mind quite quickly when we talked about how much it cost, though.
You've definitely got to sell games. So you're not buying until you've sold games. But yeah, we had a great time. And I came out champion because I went in, defeated the last boss on 1 round.
It's a team game, so...
I'm the champion. I defeated the boss.
Yeah. All right, thanks to my excellent coaching.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was just one of those things.
My only criticism of that game, now after playing it a fair few times, how many plays am I at now? 5, 6? Is it's so almost every game, apart from the game I've just played now, this afternoon, we have one shot at the boss, and it's just incredibly anticlimactic. You spend the
Yeah.
whole game, and you're battling skulls, you're battling lots of other creatures, and then you finally unlock the boss. He's out, and then you've got to kill him to win. And he should take. They should. I personally think they should have split it up so that you have to fight him multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Needs a
And
point
so
of it runs away or something then.
That's it. Yeah. So in the game that we played this evening, I won't go into detail, but basically the boss's thing that he was doing throughout the game was reducing the number of advantages you can use per battle.
Right.
So basically, when you're battling, you get given these cards, and these cards say like spend 50 warriors, which is like a currency, or 2 spirit, or a potion. They can be the currency as well, or gear. Depending on what type of creature it is or monster you're fighting, and depending on what terrain you're on and things like that, you can get what's called advantages, which you press a button and decrease the power of the card. So instead of 15 warriors, you've got to get rid of 10 warriors, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a max of 10 per fight. It's very rare you get 10. You might get 10 on the boss, but you wouldn't normally need more than a couple, 3 or 4 for the other stuff that you're fighting. But this guy decreased it throughout the game. So when we fought him, the most advantage we could use was 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that made it. I mean, bearing in mind that some cards say lose 50 warriors, and you would collect 6 as an action normally. It's a fair few, and you'd be spending those in between turns, kind of in between before you fight the boss as well. It's actually quite a substantial amount if you can't kind of get those cards down. And so what actually happened was the first player went in and basically used all. They were quite short on resources as well, but they used all 5 of their advantages to nerf a card, and the card stays nerfed.
Yep.
And then they got out, and then the next person went in, nerfed another card with another 5 advantages. And then I went in and I had a shed load of stuff, and I got their nerfed cards and nerfed cards myself with my 5 advantages, and had a shed load of stuff, and that was enough to take him out. But each time he jumped across the board to a different area.
Right.
So you had to kind of chase him, and it was way more fun. It was just more fun to battle it like that, and it felt like a more kind of a team battle. Like one person unlocked him, the other person battled him and whittled and weakened him. The next person weakened him again, and I came along and finished him off. It felt like a team battle. It felt like a really a dramatic monumental end to the game. Whereas the game that we played, there was dramatic bits, but most of them came from the tower turning and skulls and things, not actually the battle with the boss. It was a bit like, oh, is that it?
Yeah, we were more scared of one of the monsters that was running around or just on the board somewhere. And it's
exactly.
It was just like, don't go near that. Stay away from that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I classically find, there's leveled kind of 2, 3, 4 monsters that you kind of get randomly put on the game, that you kind of select. And I generally find the tier 4, level 4 monsters harder than the actual final boss, which is a level 5 boss. It's just a bit strange. Every game I've played, we've one-shotted it very easily. Like I say, this game, and it was just funny. And there's people on BGG as well who are kind of saying, "Oh, the game's too easy." I do think the game is too easy. There's a gritty mode, which apparently, makes it much, much harder. But I would prefer they almost kept it where it was and just slightly elongated the boss battles and had a bit more drama to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Just the boss did the boss. So you have to defeat him once. He goes to a new location and does something, and then goes maybe twice, 3 times. I'd say 4 if you're playing a 4. Maybe for a number of players, I'd do it that many times. I think it just makes it a bit more exciting, a bit more fun, and a bit more because the boss battle was by far a much more eventful and exciting thing in this one that we played. That was quite good.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I still enjoyed our game we did, but
no. Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, the weekend was awesome. Nice and relaxing.
Really
Claire absolutely loved it. She enjoyed it. She played different games actually. She went off and actually played a couple of games, so which I was quite proud of her for.
Yeah.
She was It's easier when you ain't got kids in tow, kind of thing. We did have a puppy, but we just kicked her under the table. She went off and found other people to get fusses from. Yeah,
so quite like sitting in her handbag.
Yeah, she does. We got a big bag that we carry all our stuff in, but she just then goes and sits in it and sleeps. Or it's the oddest thing, but hey, she's happy. So yeah,
You look
looking forward
to Hilton carrying her around.
Yeah, that's it. I'm hoping they'll do it again next year. There's whispers that they really enjoyed it this weekend. The hosts of the hotel.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they've got things to learn from it. I mean, everything went smoothly. There's nothing wrong. Only one drink got spilled over a game.
Did it?
Yeah.
Always painful to hear that.
That was the Saturday night when you went to bed and they were playing June.
They spilled a drink over it.
Yeah. So luckily they're all friends because it was the Whose Turn It Is It Anyway podcast, and they're all mates. And the guy who did it actually said, "Well, I've got the same game with all the expansions, so he might as well have mine, and I'll take this." So they just done a swap.
Yeah.
They were very, very tipsy by the time.
I think most of us were at that point.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, hopefully they will do it next year again around about the same time. So I think Sam's just jumping in, and he is just getting back from AireCon. So we're gonna see how that weekend has just gone for him. So. Okay, everyone. So we're just going to go out of context here a bit, and this is recorded very early on in the evening because Sam has just walked through his front door back from AireCon. I think he said it was an 8-hour return trip home. And he's got some kind of con lurgy he's also brought home with him. So
yeah. Pretty traditional stuff, right? But yep, it was an 8-hour journey. I mean, admittedly, a couple of hours of that is because it's an electric car and I have to stop to charge it, right? So fair enough. But that part of it went fine. But yeah, it's still a long old way. Even without it, would be a sort of 5.5 hour drive. So yeah, it's a fair old way.
Yeah.
Now, so, I've just spent, I think, $150, and I'm not entirely sure if I have or not because it didn't give me an order confirmed page, and I'm worried I've just given somebody $150.
Oh, no.
Okay, no, carry on. I'll explain all of that in a minute.
All right. So Sam's just returned back from AireCon, which is a gaming convention weekend that has grown in stature since its first conceived back in, I want to say, 2016. I might be wrong, but it does seem like it's been running for right. Yeah. And from the pictures I've seen of everyone else being there, it seems quite big on comparison now. Oh, so
Lewis appearing.
I've never been.
Yeah, Lewis.
I don't think Nick's been. I don't think Lewis.
I haven't been. That's because it's living miles away.
So Sam's the only glutton for punishment to go and represent Devon Dice up there.
Yeah,
quick as
it's kind of a triple representation because I was actually hanging out with the guys from Tabletop 24. Because John, friend of the show, he's now sort of one of the Tabletop 24 crew with Alan, and so Alan was sorting it all out, and I was sort of hanging out with them for the whole weekend, and so I was kind of like with them a little bit, and then I was also wearing my Meeple's Corner T-shirt on Friday. So I was getting people coming up and asking about if Chris was there. Like the guy from Spiral Galaxy was going, "Where's Chris? I need to speak to him." I was like, "Oh yeah, it's just me today. Sorry." Like, no way, Chris is coming up here. And then of course Devon Dice as well. So it's it was I wasn't that objectively covering anything, though. I have to admit, I should have been taking lots of photos and things, and I just didn't. Sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. You can bring all your tales of glory on now and tell us what happened.
Yeah. Live, straight from things. Just finishing now, so a live take.
So carry on. I'm not holding you back. You keep going.
Yeah, so it was also an 8.5 hour drive going up there on Thursday in what was meant to be a blizzard, which was fun, and it did snow like hell that night. But thankfully, we got into Harrogate before it all sort of got bad, and then by the time we came home, it was absolutely fine, so that was no problem. But it was really snowy for the first couple of days, which was quite interesting. But in terms of the show itself, I'd never been, obviously. It's sort of seen as it's sort of I'd say it's the second biggest official board gaming show in the country after UK Games Expo, which is obviously miles ahead in terms of attendance. But AireCon is pretty much, I'd say 90% is about the just playing of games. They do have an exhibitors hall, but it's quite a small, it's quite a small scale affair. It's just one of the small halls within the Harrogate Convention Centre. They had a handful of demo stands there. They had Oink Games there as a sponsor of the show, Bright Eye Games, Radical 8, and a couple of the bigger ones. Hatchet were there, and another one, I can't remember which the other one was now. I think Lucky Duck had sent a demo, that kind of stuff. So there was some good representation from the hobby, and an awful lot of like independent sort of trade stands, so sort of craft creators and 3D printers and all sorts of stuff, collectibles and that sort of thing. That side of it is, the retail side of it isn't a huge part of the show, basically. They do have a bring and buy, much like the UK Games Expo, which was quite big. I put a few things in. Their game system where you can log the games and sort of keep an eye on your sales works really well. I'm not sure if UK Games Expo does something. They do kind of something similar, but this somehow feels better. I managed to sell 5 or 6 of my games. The others, I tried to get them before I left on Saturday afternoon because I wasn't going to go back in today because we had to drive home. And the queue to get in there was just stupid. There was no way I was going to be able to find my games. So I just said, you can have them for charity because I couldn't be bothered to go and get them all. It was absolutely chaos. But I did pick up a couple of things in there.
This is why I don't approve of bring and buy.
Well, I mean, I only took stuff that I didn't really care. I actively didn't want to have to take them home, so I'd rather give them to charity than take them home. So that was fine. I did get my first copy of Small World because one of the guys I was with said he'd never played it and fancied trying it. That was John, actually. And ironically, John didn't play it, but I did play it with Ben, one of the other guys I was there with. And I also picked up an in-shrink copy of Sheepy Time, which was amazing. I'd forgotten how big that game was. I was actually in the queue for checking out a Small World. I'd given up on finding Sheepy Time. I tried and I couldn't find it. And then I spotted it as I was in the queue winding around the bring and buy to get to the till. I spotted it in the middle of a table and I had to sort of make my excuses in the queue and just say, I'll be just going to go and grab something. Grabbed it and I've forgotten how big the box for this game was. But it was all in shrink, 15 quid. I was like, yes. I felt like a proper bargain. But yeah, the bring and buy was a big part of that show. But the rest of it was all about game playing. There were just tables and tables and tables and tables and tables. I think 1, 2, 3. There were at least 3 halls open all the time for games. And the bring and buy one was like filled up with tables as well. So they sort of filled every available space they could with tables and chairs for gaming. On Saturday, literally every single table was taken up, which was pretty incredible. But yeah, it was pretty good. It feels like it's one of those cons where there's a lot of people that go solo or as a couple and then meet up with random people and just kind of play games with people they've never known, never met before. I did that with as a really nice guy called Mabeen, who I met up with. He, as part of the AireCon community group on Facebook, I sort of put a shout out sort of asking if anyone just happened to want to get rid of a copy of Heat with a slight premium on it so that I could have a copy to go to the show with.
Nice.
And he sort of messaged me saying, I'm going to Copenhagen, and the guy that designed it has got a cafe there, and apparently they've got English copies, so I'll pick you up one if you want. And I was like, oh, that'd be awesome, man.
Fantastic.
And so he went and then sent me a message when he was over there saying, really sorry, can't find any English copies at all. I was like, oh, never mind. But Nick in our Wednesday night group gave me his copy to borrow. So that was fine. I still got to play Heat, but I arranged to meet up with Mabine anyway, just to say sort of thanks. And also he put a shout out on the AireCon group about playing Encyclopedia. And I was like, I've got a copy. Why don't you play mine? So we met up and played Encyclopedia on yesterday. That was great. I really enjoyed it. He seemed to love it, which was awesome. But I knew that I was in for a 3.5 hour play, and I didn't really want to do that. So if he happens to be listening, Mabine, I took one for you there because I didn't really want to play for 3 hours one game. But I felt you deserved it for the effort you made. So yeah, but that was really good actually. To be fair,
is that standard for the length of a game? Is it for Encyclo?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's each game I've played so far has been about 3 hours. 3 to 3.5 hours.
3.5 sounds weak compared to the torture that is Tapestry.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Save it, Lewis. Save it.
I'll give you a taster, a little lick.
You may have already
the pain to come.
Well, you may have already talked about it, but depending on where Joel slots this into the show.
That's true.
But yeah. So anyway, we did play a bunch of games. The Friday we didn't play as many games because the tabletop Alan from Tabletop 24 was doing sort of a lot of videoing and sort of interviews and stuff. So it was a bit random. We didn't really get going with playing very much, which was a bit strange. But one game we did get from the library, the lending library, was a game called Comic Hunters. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No.
Okay, so it's Marvel Comic Hunters.
I can't believe that Joel hasn't got it.
Well, it's only available in Brazil because they've got the license to use the artwork for Marvel Comics, and therefore they're the only place where you can get it. So Alan spotted it in the library. It was all still in. I think it wasn't in shrink, but it was basically virtually brand new. It turned out it was actually Mark Cook, the organizer of AireCon. It's his own copy that he donated to the library, just so that it could be in the library. And it was only in Portuguese, so he had to get the rule book from BGA or Board Game Geek, obviously.
BGA, yeah.
But Alan's a really good learner of rules, and so he sorted that. He learns it in like 10 minutes and then taught us the next day. And we played it I think 3 times.
Oh wow!
Straight away, it was really, really good.
Times.
It's essentially a drafting set collection game. So the idea being that, and all the cards in the game are all Marvel comics. So
That's so cool.
It's like Black Panther, Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Hulk. And there's probably one other that I've forgotten. But in terms of the board, in terms of the sets you're collecting, the different characters are worth different amounts, which is just a token that you randomly draw and put into the different value slots. So it says that if you've got X number of, like say Spider-Man, let's say Spider-Man is the most in demand character. If you've got sort of 3 to 4, it's worth 6 points. If you've got 5 to 7, it's worth 10 points. If you've got 8 to 11, it's worth 16 points. That kind of thing. And the other characters will be kind of graded in 3 bands as to their value. And then each comic has also got sort of attributes as to whether it's a character V character, or it's a first issue, or it's I can't remember what it is, like a rarity value and that kind of stuff. And those are all sort of random. Each game you're going to have 3 attributes that you're going to score against. So as you sort of collect, you move up these tracks for the 3 icons, basically, depending on how many of them are on your cards. And you also earn points at the end of the game for how many of whoever's got the most of those and second most and that kind of stuff. But in terms of the actual getting of the cards, that's the fun bit, because it's basically a love letter to drafting. It's got 4 different drafting mechanisms, and in the 3 rounds, you do 3 different drafts in sort of of those 3 drafts from that set of 4. So one is like a sushi go, 7 wondersy, pick one, pass them round. The second one is Coloretto sort of style. So you put down one row of card, a single card for each player.
Yep.
And then you get a choice of either drawing a card and putting it on a row or taking a row. Third one is like an auction where you've got it's probably like another couple of games, but you've got a sort of row of 5, 2 rows of 4, and a row of 3, and then you sort of auction each of those rows one at a time. And then what's the fourth one? Oh, the fourth one's like a kind of big tableau draft. So you put down a grid of 5x5 cards and leaving just the center empty, and then in player order, you get to move a card within the grid in the available space. So obviously the first player to go has got no real choices. They can move one of 4 cards, one space essentially. But then you can take all cards of that one character in a single row or column. So if you can move a card from the sort of second column to the third column, and that makes it 3 Spider-Men, you could pick up all the Spider-Man comics from that column and add them to your collection. So it probably doesn't make a great deal of sense just talking about it, but it was just really quick, really fun. The artwork is amazing because it's literally the comic books. It's essentially just the comic books
all
on
the
table.
cover art, isn't it? That's
and
really
it's
nice.
all the proper artwork. So you can understand why it's not. I've got a feeling it's the sort of thing that in a year or two it will be, someone will get a license to do it properly, and it will cost £50 or something. But this was brilliant. We were playing it, and it was just like, this is genuinely a really great game. We loved it. So much so that as we were starting this recording, I actually bought my own copy from Brazil.
That's what you were saying, then.
Yeah. So I finally found a website that's got it. You can get it on eBay, but it was way more expensive. I paid $107, believe it or not. So screw it. That's my money.
And you don't even know if it's. You've got no acknowledgement from it as well.
Yeah, and I have got the order. I've got the order confirmation at least. It's a Shopify job, so I feel fairly safe.
All right. Yep.
And unlike eBay, this doesn't have any kind of doesn't have any tax to pay when it comes in. It sounds like they pay all the tax for the UK before it gets to you.
That's cool.
So that's not too bad. So anyway, that was brilliant. That was a big highlight of the game. In fact, Alan videoed us playing it, so I suspect it will hit YouTube at some point. Not that I should be pushing another person's channel, perhaps, but it's well worth a watch, I hope.
Don't matter.
You'll see me in my Meeple's Corner t-shirt, giving my 2 pence worth there as well. We also played 3,000 Scoundrels.
Oh yeah.
Which is I can't remember what the name of the publisher is now, but it's the guy that was at Corey Konecka. That's it. The FFG designer, right? There's a brand new in shrink copy in the library, so we played that. Sort of learnt it quickly and played that. Actually, quite good. We quite enjoyed that. It sounds. I think our opinion of it was that when it came out or was announced, it sort of got a lot of buzz for being really interesting in concept, and when people played it, it was just like, is that it, kind of thing. But I think that was from having played it. I suppose we had our expectations tempered by that reaction. And it feels to me like it was a case of everyone expected it to be amazing because of the concept. It wasn't amazing, so therefore it's suddenly not great. Actually, it's a perfectly decent game. It's a easy 7 out of 10 game. A really playable, fun game.
Yeah, I'd love to try it because it looks really. It looks like it would fit in my wheelhouse of and it's got the upgradable sleeved cards and.
Yeah, and the production quality is top notch. And
is that the one where you got like poker hands?
Yeah. And you're upgrading cards by adding them to sleeves.
Did you play the easy mode, Sam, or did you go just straight into full 3 rounds?
What's the? Oh yeah, we played the full 3 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I played at Maple's Corner 2 rounds. They suggest playing as your first game 2 rounds, but it's like, well, by the time you're in the second round and finishing, it's like, why? I'm only just getting into it. I'm just learning who's got what and who's played what. So the 3 rounds is a must.
Yeah. We didn't, when we saw that, we thought, well, let's just play the 3 rounds because it doesn't seem that complicated, and it wasn't.
No.
So it worked really well, and that was perfectly fun. I think we came out of it going, I don't think any of us would want to buy it necessarily, but we'd be happy to play it if someone said they want to try it, But that was really good. And we also got a couple of games of Heat played as well.
Mhm.
So I was introing it to them because I'd promised it would be taken on. Seeing as Nick kindly lent it to me, I thought I'd better get it out to the table. I wasn't entirely sure how they were feeling about it because it was quite late in the day and they looked a bit glazed. Their eyes sort of glazed over. It felt like, but we finished the first game, which was the Italian map, and then they said, "Right, let's go again." And I was like, "Oh, okay. You like it then?" So turned out they did like it. And we played the Great Britain map with the weather module then, and that went really well. So much so that we finished the second lap, and I didn't even realise it was the second lap, and I thought, "Oh crap, we finished!" so that went really well, and that was kind of it really. Apart from then Encyclopedia yesterday, I was going to try and get Brass played, but we just ran out of time before I had to go. So it was really good. So I think I could. I'd have liked to have played more games because it felt like there was a lot of wasted time just sitting around waiting for. So we've sort of got a pitch on one of the tables, and it felt like we had to, because there was the boat. Yeah, everyone had bags and stuff. Dump all the bags and stuff on the table so we could take that space. Sort of go full German beach towel style. Lay our claim. And then others would go off, like Alan and John would say, we'll go off and do some video or something. So that meant the others have to, me and Ben had to stay at the table, just watch all the stuff, and then they might be gone for an hour and a half. And then, we played a game of Small World and that sort of stuff. But half the time we just seemed like we was just sitting around not doing very much. I'd definitely change that if I go again. But that's just a vagary of our group for the weekend, I think.
Would you do it again?
The only thing that puts me off is the distance.
Yeah.
Naturally, but one thing we are thinking about, because Megan came with me this year, she invited herself along basically, and I said, "Are you sure? Because you do realise I'm going to be playing games all the time." So she was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll do myself. I'll sort myself out." And she went off to York for the day on the train, and then sort of went around Harrogate the second day, and she was quite content doing it herself. It was absolutely no problem. So much so that I think what we're maybe planning to do if we do go next year, it would be maybe for an extra day we'd go up on the Wednesday on the train, because the Penzance to Aberdeen train is direct and it stops at York, and York is only a 30-minute train ride to Harrogate. So it might be that we go up on the Wednesday on the train, stay in York for the night, do York as a kind of as a visit thing on the Thursday, then get the train over to Harrogate instead before coming home. So I'll investigate how feasible that is, but it would mean I don't have to drive, which would be a big plus as far as I'm concerned. And apparently York was amazing. Yeah, and
York's
to be fair,
lovely.
Yeah, for the second time row, it felt like we were jinxed because the first time we tried to get to York on a road trip, it was flooded out by mad floods about 8 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So we were driving from the Lake District across, and we couldn't get in. All the roads were closed to York. York was basically blocked off by floodwater, so we couldn't get in. And then this time it was like, oh, there's going to be blizzards. Oh, great! So we still can't get there. So yeah, it was. I'll never get there probably. But yes, that's our thinking next year. I would definitely go again if I can find a way to make it a bit more of a relaxing experience than having to drive for 16 hours.
Yeah,
indeed.
But we'll see. Yeah, the plan right now would be to try and go next year, but it'll kind of depend on others in the group and stuff as well.
Yeah.
If everyone goes, then I'll try for sure. We might lay off the extreme barbecue restaurant meat place we went last night because my stomach still hurts now. It's one of those places where they come round with like the spit of like steaks or something, and they sort of give you a slice of steak and stuff, and they just keep going around with stuff, and you just get carried away. And we're just like, oh, we got to try that. Oh, we got to try that. We all you get like the red green kind of beer mat thing, and you sort of you flip it to red if you have stopped and you don't want to be offered anything more. And all of us kind of flipped, right, we're done. And then something new would come out and be like, we're back in. We've got to try that. So yeah, and then after that we went, oh, we really need something sweet. So the last bit was like a really salty gammon, and it was nice, but it was damn salty. We sort of left the restaurant. That was the one bit that finished us. And then we want something sweet. And so we went to the gelatery that's opposite the convention centre. And I got carried away and got 2 scoop ice cream. And I felt like I was going to die. for a good 2 hours. So yeah, I think I need to make sure I'm in better control next year. But yeah, it was really good. And the highlight today was also John. He took the Wandering Towers, Yvonne Delden Turma, and because he loves it since I recommended it, he got it and loved it. He subsequently recommended it to a couple of people at work who've also gone and bought it from Chris from Meeple's Corner. And then today he said he was going into AireCon. Alan was going to do recording and stuff like normal, and John just said, "No, I'm just taking Wandering Towers." He set it up on a table, got one of those lightsaber things that they've got to sort of say players wanted kind of things. And he played it 6 times with random people that just came up and said, "Cool, sure, we'll give it a go." And I think 2 copies of Wandering Towers have been ordered since. So, he's been eulogizing it. Or no, what's the word I'm looking for? Evangelizing Wandering Towers today. It's a great success, it seems. So yeah, it's really cool. So that's the one bit we didn't really do. It was try and meet up with, just join in with random people and stuff. But John decided to give it a crack today, and sounds like it went brilliantly.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll have to see next year. It's on one of my lists of doing that at convention sooner or later. And you also have to send me the link.
Sorry, Joel. I was going to say there's also an awful lot of networking possibilities for you there as well. Tons and tons of YouTuber types are all there, all just playing games. I was looking across at one point, going, "That guy looks familiar," and it was this sort of big, sort of bearded guy wearing a baseball cap. And it was Mike from the Brothers Murph.
Because they're all over with Watch It Played.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, all the Watch It Played.
Rodney and all of those lot.
Yeah, Rodney was in the Bring and Buy queue at one point. And Matt Jude was there, obviously.
Yep.
Who's the is he Dutch or German? I can't remember. Dave something.
Yeah, he's on.
Him and his wife are on a channel. He was there. I think he did the quiz. Mark Cook did an AireCon quiz, which was a lot of fun. Actually, I didn't say about that one. On Friday night, in one of the rooms, they did this quiz. It was kind of like a multi-choice, time-limited kind of job. You have to play through an app on a website, essentially. But you're in the room, and Mark was up on the stage, and there was a full bottle of wine at that stage. Full bottle of red wine, and he basically got steadily drunker and drunker as the game went on. And the bottle was gone by the time he finished, and he was pickled. So which was hilarious. He came up and sort of chatted to us afterwards, and it looked like his eyes were rolling back in his head, and he was sort of waving, sort of staggering around a little bit. But it was really funny. But the quiz was really clever, actually. It was all like, one of the rounds was about starting players, and he'd read out the starting player rule for a game, and you have to say which game it was the starting player sort of condition for, and things like that. That was really clever. He had another one with like AI generated images, which is very on trend at the moment, right? Indeed. So it's basically, obviously put it through an image AI image generator, and I said, which game is this as generated by an AI? Those were really good. It caught played some really interesting ideas for quiz questions, so that was really fun as well. There's a whole bunch of other events we didn't actually do. So I think on the Thursday night there was there's a brewery in Harrogate called Brew York, and they did a kind of beer test, like a guided beer tasting, and there was like a pub crawl, I think, maybe even on the Wednesday night, I think it was. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on in various cafes and stuff outside of the conventions as well. So it's quite an interesting. It was quite an interesting convention to go to.
Sounds interesting.
Dave Loser is who you're thinking of. Sam.
Dave Loser, that's it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
So he was there as well.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So you'll have to send me a link to where you purchased the Marvel game.
Yeah. I'll get it for you now.
I knew it.
So, getting to the end of the show, we're just going to do any other business. And the main thing I want to bring up is, like, with all these conventions now starting to come up and that, I'm just going to highlight the ones that us maybe attending this year up till next year. So first off will be AireCon, which is just outside Exeter, the 12th to the 16th of April. I think I'll be going for a couple of days this year. Then there's UK Games Expo, which is beginning of June.
Yep.
So me and Lewis are definitely going up. And
Yeah.
I should be there as well.
Yeah,
I'll
same.
have a car full of games that need to be sold. So
Oh, I'm definitely not doing bring and buy stuff this time. I thought
Bring and buy.
with AireCon, I thought I'd give it a crack 'cause it's smaller, but it was a pain in the neck. And I think UK Games Expo is even more of a pain in the neck. So I'm just not bothering.
I'm lamenting those 45 minutes of my life I'm never getting back searching for a game that wasn't even there.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to sell there than it is trying to ship it all and things like that. So, yeah, that's why I like using it. 24-hour board gaming marathon. I'm actually going to that. I bought tickets today. So Sam was just on about the people that run it, so I'll be there.
What's that one? Which one?
The 24-hour board gaming marathon.
Oh, Tabletop 24.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Ilminster.
Go to that. Oh no, that's not it.
That's not
a
it.
different one. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Someone else you can do.
That's another 24-hour
mysterious
job.
thing now.
I mean, I think Alan at Tabletop 24, he started the channel because he did a charity 24-hour game-a-thon thing a few years ago before lockdowns, and then that's just morphed now into he decided to just carry on making content just to sort of keep it alive before the next one could run after COVID kind of thing. So that's how that all started.
Well, anyway.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, so I brought tickets to that because I just thought, it'd be easy. Then we got Essenspiel. Hopefully I'll be going. It all depends on certain things like my job and things like that. But told the missus today, and actually she's excited to be going. So.
Cool. You get a choice there. You are going.
No. She's all up, and now she's been away for this first weekend. She's all up for it all. It's like,
she liked it now, right?
Yeah, she's got the taste of it. So. There's the one in November. I don't know if I can mention it because it's a bit early for like Patreon. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you know which one I'm going to. So I'm not going to say anything yet. But it will come around and be public knowledge sooner or later. And then the last one is not until February next year, which is the Full Board Gaming, which is in Torquay in February the 2nd. So
I'm very tempted by that.
Yeah, I booked my room today.
Well done.
Yeah, just need to get on there. It's only 10% deposit for the whole weekend. Okay. And you get use of all the facilities in the hotel and things like that. So
thing is, based on the weekend we've just had, all I did was game, and then everything else was a waste of money. If I had a swimming pool and things like that, I don't think I would have used it.
I don't know. Mrs. is looking forward to it because she will go off and use the facilities. So, and then she'll pop along and have a game, and then she'll probably pop off again and go and do something else in the hotel. So,
yeah. Wonder if I can. I'll try and convince Rachel it's a good idea and see if then they can go and pop off together.
And so our next podcast episode will be a review of Brass Birmingham. So this time we've all been playing it, so we will bring something to the table this time, like the last review we did. So yeah, just stay tuned for that next episode. So yeah, it brings a close to the show. Thank you guys for joining me.
Pleasure. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, thanks Sam for jumping in and giving us your bit about it. Found it really interesting. So yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you want to leave a comment or make a suggestion in any of the top 3 games lists of a review of a game that we could do, then leave a message any of the social media we have. You'll find these in the show notes. We do have good discussions happening on our Discord channel, so do join that and join along. And for any other details and content we talked about in the show, you can find it in the show notes below. So thank you guys for joining me, and say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.